Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 567 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. I hope you're all well, whether you're watching the recording or you're watching the live. We have some comments. Perfumed by the Sea is here saying, afternoon, wearing Le Labo Moustachen 30, the Amsterdam city scent. Glorious on this warm day. But the first comment goes to Alex, who said, hello, Mr. P, and hello to everyone. I'm sitting here in steaming hot Graz in Austria, wearing Rien by Etat Libre. Yeah, on a hot day is quite brave. You well done, Alex. Okay, it is that time of year again, one of the 4 times of the year. I can't quite believe that 3 months just about have passed since we did our list of the top 10 best perfumes for spring, but here we are. It is time to start thinking about the summer. This time next week, summer will have officially started, and so I think it's high time that we did our top 10 for the summer. I should also say, feel free to leave a comment, ask a question, whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording. Oh, and suddenly the comments are coming. Spaced Out says, scent of the day is Frederic Malle, Mediterranee. Ah, how interesting. Dave says, hello all. Musique Picnic says, good morning from Vancouver. Love the sunflowers. Thank you very much. I like them too. Happy Sunday and Father's Day to those celebrating, says CJ Lamb. Oriana is here as well saying, hello all. Wearing Fiore d'Ulivo from Casa Moratti. Ooh, I don't know that one. Lots more hellos coming through. You are all very, very welcome. And Elias says, hello from where? Hurlehi? Where's that? I should know. I kind of have a feeling I know where you are roughly, but okay. As you know, we try to give our seasonal lists a bit of a loose theme. I don't stick to the theme slavishly, religiously, but it's just to help me guide my thinking. And in relation to something completely different, it's something that I was writing the other day, I just sort of thought that we need more of a force in the world at the moment that isn't just peaceful and isn't just tranquil and isn't just spreading love, but we actually almost need the joyfulness to be more active, to be more of a superpower. And I thought in my head, we need something like super joy. You know, we need a joy that actually goes out there and does battle with the negativity and with the darkness. And so I thought, oh, that could be a really, really brilliant concept for the top 10 summer list. Now, since I got that idea and since I started putting together the list, the world has actually become a lot darker, to the point where I thought, should I even be talking about joyful perfumes or doing lists? But the video was scheduled. I'd already thought that I would do it today at this time, and in the spirit of staying optimistic and staying hopeful and carrying on, I thought, no, let's go with it. Let's do what we were going to do, and let us not actually let the darkness defeat us. So if anything, I think it should make us even more joyful. Alex says we need it. Yeah, we definitely do at the moment. Shan says, hi Mr. P, great to be catching a live after so long. You're very, very welcome, Shan. Hope you're okay. More Violette says, I love the theme. We need all the hope, joy and positivity we can muster. Giving into the darkness isn't an option. Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you agree. Anna says, excited to know what you have to say on Serge Lutin's Le Royaume des Lumières. Oh, I never even heard of that. So somebody enlighten me, please. Dave NYC says, absolutely, cannot dwell on war and politics all the time. Need this distraction for sure, says Yvette. Thank you. Well, I think I shall take that as a vote of confidence, and we will carry on. So, these are perfumes. The idea is, and you know, like I said, I don't stick to this slavishly, they're not just happy and they're not just joyful, but they're meant to be almost like kind of in-your-face joyful. Unavoidably joyful, annoyingly joyful perhaps, or maybe not annoyingly, but infectiously joyful. You know, they actually spread their joy and they radiate their joy. So what I didn't want to go for instance, not particularly, was a really, really bright, exuberant, joyful cologne, because colognes tend to be I suppose they veer on the side of being unassuming. They tend to be quite fleeting. You know, I wanted this to be a sort of powerhouse joy, powerful joy. I'm looking at the selection here. We've got 10 plus 1 because we always do a little bit of a cheat, and some are certainly more powerful and louder than others. But I don't think a single one of these really is a wallflower. I don't think a single one of these that I'm looking at is a shy scent. The rules, such as there are that I try not to go for scents that have been discontinued, and I try to go for as close to the current formulation of the perfumes as I can possibly find. And I also try to go for a fair amount of modernity in the list, just to kind of shake things up, not to go for the obvious candidates, to present some new releases, because we've been doing these seasonal lists for a while now, and I don't want to kind of just keep rehashing the same perfumes, just keep bringing the same old perfumes out. Oriana says, fighting darkness with light, better times to come. To Shan. Why? What did Shan say? Shan says, not giving into the darkness has been the theme of my 2025. Navigating divorce was hard, but wonderful smelly water kept my chin up. When people mention divorce, my first instinct is to say, sorry to hear that, but then I kind of think, no, but that's probably like what they wanted. That's, probably ultimately a good thing. So sorry to hear about the hard times, but glad to hear that you're looking ahead. And I've yet to come across a person who has regretted getting divorced, shall we say, and I'm sure you have come across a lot of those sorts of people as well, Shan, in your own particular journey. Jessica says, it's funny, Mr. P, I had a dream about you last night. Oh, okay. Where we were sitting on a park bench, how nice, in the sun, and you were making me laugh uncontrollably. It fits with the theme today. Well, how spooky is that? I'm so glad that this was a good dream, that I didn't kind of turn up and go, what kind of perfume are you wearing? What do you call that? Alex says, a divorce can be the start of a very nice new chapter. Absolutely. I am Madame Persolaise's second Monsieur Persolaise, if you get what I'm saying. The first was definitely not a Monsieur Persolaise. Helter Skelter Jones says, I wonder, have you tried the new Les Indemodables? Oh gosh, that's the Immortelle one, isn't it? I had a very, very, very kind of sneaky sniff of it at Aix-en in Milan a few months ago, and I was impressed. I need to get my hands on a few drops. We need to get on because we have 10 plus 1 to do. Okay, so what is the perfume that to me best sums up this idea that I'm trying to convey? And actually this was one of the ones that I started with. It is pretty much brand spanking new from 2025, composed by Bertrand Duchaufour for Neela Vermeire Creations. This is their glorious, I mean truly, truly glorious new Eshal. Let's have a spray. And, without giving away too many personal details, the story of this perfume is very much linked to a quest for joy, to a need to rediscover joy, and to also to do it in a kind of active way rather than just in a kind of zen, tranquil way, sitting and waiting for joy to wash over you, but actually going out and seeking joy. I'm by no means am I a psychotherapist or a counsellor of any sorts, but being content is a decision, right? You have to seek it out. You have to actively pursue it, and Eshal is the kind of perfume equivalent of that. I think it is just stunning. If you haven't tried it yet, please do seek it out. It was one of the absolute standout hits of Aix-en this year. Gavin says, sunflowers make me think of Van Gogh. A woman in Arles, over 100, was once interviewed on Newshound. She was asked what she remembered of him, the interview expecting a nice anecdote, and she said he was very smelly and angry. That always, well, there we go, that's good. Okay. Oh my goodness. So, in case you weren't already aware, this is at its core a tuberose scent. Not the first tuberose we've had from Neela Vermeire, but this is quite different from the previous ones because it's spicier, and what you notice as well is quite a marked turmeric accord. The way that or turmeric, maybe it's not even an accord, a note. The way the turmeric has been presented here is really, really extraordinary. I mean, I love the smell of turmeric. I love turmeric in cooking. it's a really, really strange odour profile, isn't it? Because it's bitter, it's tart, it's woody, it's kind of cinnamony as well, and that's no surprise because there is cinnamon in this perfume as well. And it's linked with orange blossom and a kind of beeswax accord in the base. It's a thunderous glow, if I can mix senses and mix metaphors, because it beams and radiates like the sun, but it also like thrums with this power. But there is nothing frightening about it. There is nothing aggressive about it. There is nothing. There's probably also nothing even dangerous about its omnipotence, and yet it is omnipotent. It is huge, but it is benevolent, like a Buddha statue that sort of comes to life and just sort of takes you by the hand and says, "No, I will hug you, whether you like it or not." That's what Eshal seems to be doing. I really, really hope that more people discover it. It is worth getting a sample of this. Oriana says, need to get my nose on this one. Also loved Bertrand's Blanc Sada. Oh, I don't know that one. Who's that for? Wish the lime note stuck around just a little bit longer, says Dwarfy. Lovely nonetheless. EcoJock says, speaking of joy scents and the 90s, Clinique Happy. Good choice. And perhaps Estee Lauder's Pleasures might make the list. They're not on here, but they are very, very good. And actually, thank you. That reminds me that I wanted to say as well, please, please, please share your own Super Joy go-tos. And they don't have to be perfume. I mean, obviously, if it is a perfume that just instantly gives you this kind of borderline aggressive joy, then I want to know what it is. But also if there's a piece of music that you turn to, or if, I don't know, if there's a particular walk that you go on, or a destination that you visit, or a food that you like, or a particular ice cream flavour that does it for you. Let us share all of that so that by the time this hour is out, we will just be overflowing with joyfulness, and we can have this video as a kind of touchstone to return to. And then from this tiny little corner of the south of England, via all of you, the joy will just spread out and we'll all become terribly new agey and annoying, but we will achieve a pocket full of goodness. Shan says, Pomplaloon does it for me, and Borderline by Madonna on max volume. That is one of my favourite songs of hers. Borderline is a good one. Actually, no, that's a very, very good one to mention. Gavin says, were all your Kylie perfumes joyous? She's a purveyor of joy, really, isn't she? It's funny you should say that, because it was while I was writing about the Kylie Minogue concert over on my Substack that I also used the phrase super joy. She is a purveyor of joy. I'm not sure she was on full joy form at the Tension Tour at the O2. But anyway, if you want to find out what I think of it, you need to head over to the Substack. Ralph says, recently started planting up some rose plants. Isfahan roses have been my recent smell of joy. That's actually, yes, that's a very, very excellent point to make, because one of the things that I can't wait for May, when some of the roses start blooming in our garden, and I smell them absolutely every single day, because I know that I only have about a sort of 6-week window in which to smell them. Cindy Lauper's Girls Just Want to Have Fun says, grooming on the grill. That's a good one. Helter Skelter Joan says, for me it's lots of rose ikebana on a slightly breezy warm day. Keep them coming. But this one, it's one of the best from Neela Vermeire. Seriously. Okay, we need to move on because it's nearly 15 minutes and I've only done one perfume. Okay, let us go to something that kind of veers a bit more into cologne territory, and it features a note that, through no particular design, comes up a lot on this list, from 2017 by a perfumer called Caroline. It's either Saba or Sabas, I'm guessing it's Saba, from Etat Libre d'Orange, which we have already mentioned. It's You or Someone Like You, which was created in collaboration with the writer and journalist Chandler Burr. I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that You or Someone Like You is the title of a novel he wrote, I think I want to say. I know this one has a lot of fans, but I'm going to say, even so, that it's underrated. I think it's an underrated Etat Libre. I've really liked it from from the word go. I adore that one, says Thomas. Yeah, it is minty, but it is also rosy. It might be a little bit cucumbery. It's very green. It's grass-like. I think it's meant to evoke California, minus the protests, hopefully, and the government crackdowns. Gavin says Chandler Burr does not bring me joy. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think he's a good writer. Well, dare I ask why he doesn't bring you joy? Or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't go there if it's not going to bring us joy. Minty joyfulness, says Alex. Yeah, absolutely. And also a note. I can't remember whether Etat Libre d'Orange themselves cited this note, but I think they did. I think that it's meant to have a kind of chlorophyll note, which I get because it smells more than just grassy. It smells leafy, like you've just cut some grass, but it's just unstoppable. I think in the kind of green happiness that it radiates. So Eshal with its tuberose and turmeric is a kind of dramatic happiness, a real symphony to joy. This is loud sea waves crashing on rocks type joyfulness, with a kind of measure of a serene shoreline thrown in. Offenlich says, the white florals in You or Someone Like You remind me slightly of our mock orange bush blooming, which is one of my favourite smells each year. Ah, wonderful. I do not get much rose from this one myself. Jakub says, You or Someone Like You makes me feel like bees should be flying around me. They're very friendly bees, I'm sure. More Violette says, I think I'm a person less prone to joy than expansive peace and calm, but thunderstorms and sun showers both make me outright giddy. I like a good thunderstorm as well, as long as it's not destructive. Oh, Gavin's telling us about Chandler Burr. Okay. I thought his perfume criticism was dire. Oh, really? Oh, okay. He spent a lot of time with Luca Turin, and like a farmer who spent too long with a cow, he thought he could start giving milk. Well, okay. I actually quite liked a lot of his perfume criticism, but there we are. Gin Tonic for balance says, really dislike You or Someone Like You. The mint just puts me off. Well, never mind. We can't please everybody. Alex, Jardin de Bagatelle gives me instant joy. The feeling of stumbling into a storm of colourful flowers is wonderful. Okay, let's move on. So, third on the list. What should we do next? I haven't planned the order of these at all. Let's go, what's this one hiding? Oh yes, let's do the one that's actually probably going to be quite different from everything else. Now, a lot of you are going to say to me probably, hang on, you can't recommend this for summer, but I'm going to. From 2023, this is without any question the most gourmand on the list. From 2023, from none other than Monsieur Olivier Crespe himself, from his own brand, Akro. This is Bake. Now, regular viewers will know that I'm a huge fan of Bake. I think it is just genius, and I think if all gourmand perfumes were like this, then the genre wouldn't have such a bad rep. It is... Bake is so happy, says Thomas. I'm glad you agree. It is just one of the most perfect, one of the most photoreal, one of the most detailed olfactory evocations I have ever smelt of a sort of lemon meringue or lemon tart. You taste and you see the lemon, you see the chantilly, you see and taste the pastry. You've got the butteriness of the pastry, you've got the crumbly texture of the pastry. Of course you have the sweetness of the pastry, you've got the contrast of the sweetness and the acidity in the lemon filling. You've got the texture of the chantilly. It's just so mouthwateringly, joyously happy, and it is brilliant. And I still don't get it. So many people that I've spoken to say that they think it's wonderful and they love the smell of it, but they don't quite fancy wearing it. I mean, and obviously, ultimately, people need to wear what they feel comfortable wearing. But I think that because they sort of say things like, "Oh, I don't want to smell like a lemon pie," or "I don't want to smell like a creamy tart." I don't think you would, because Crespe is very, very good as well at finding the connection between his gourmand ideas and the wearer's skin. You would just smell of lemony deliciousness. I'm convinced, because the vanilla note in the base is wonderful as well. It's just delectable. So this is the gourmand, unashamedly gluttonous joy, just going around everywhere saying, eat, eat, eat more, screw the diet, just eat and enjoy. Shan, a sweet pastry in Paris, funnily enough, by Zara, really shocked me too, and it came well ahead of Bake, so it's not a copycat either. Truly shocked me. Ah, interesting. Mind you, if it was a Zara perfume, it was probably stuck around for 2 minutes and then it went away. Offenlicht says, speaking of gourmand, the top note of Eldo's Fils de Dieu gives me a lot of joy. Yes, that perfume genuinely makes me laugh. It's by Ralph Schwieger. He is the perfumer who I say somehow, one of very, very few perfumers who somehow manages to inject a sense of humour into his compositions. Smell Lipstick Rose if you haven't. I defy anybody to not laugh out loud when they smell Lipstick Rose in the best possible way. It's a real compliment to the perfume and to the perfumer. Gavin says, I love smelling like a lemon meringue pie. Devotion is my choice. Well, yeah, same perfumer, right? And not a million miles away from Bake, because I don't think it's what I look like. Well, speaking from experience, I would say that, yeah, you are right in thinking that you do not look like a confection. Thomas says, I remember when you first talked about this one, Bake, and I thought my mother would like it. It's now one of her favourite perfumes. Oh, I love stories like that. Thank you very much for letting me know. Dwarfy says, some Bel Respiro, rereading one of E.M. Forster's works and returning to our second home in India will never not make me happy. That's great. And if you had to pick one of Forster's to reread, what would it be? Quick shout out for Damon Galgut's Arctic Summer, which tells the story of E.M. Forster writing A Passage to India. If you haven't read it, and if you love Forster, you must read it. It is just such a beautiful book. Okay. Let us move on. Right. Somebody mentioned, a few people mentioned Pampelune, and I confess I did think about Pampelune. I thought about Erba Fresca. I think I've included Erba Fresca in lots and lots of lists. Probably kind of need to spread the net a little bit wider. But I'm really, really taken with this year's Aqua Allegoria. So from 2025, by Delphine Yelk, we have got Guerlain, Aqua Allegoria, Rosa, Verde. Now, I'm very, very often surprised when certain perfumes turn out to be divisive. There are some that I smell and I think, oh gosh, yes, this is going to be quite Marmite. You know, there are going to be very, very divided opinions on this. But there are some that, you know, turn out to be divisive, and I think, whoa, didn't see that one coming. This is one of them. This is actually way, way more divisive than I ever thought it would be. And I was speaking to somebody the other day who said that they can't take the mint in it. And that they find the mint veers too close to toothpaste, which is a risk you take with mint. It's a risk you take with geranium, because geranium also has quite a marked minty facet. That's why a lot of people don't like Géranium pour Monsieur from Frederic Malle, because they think it takes them, you know, to toothpaste. It doesn't do that to me, and this doesn't take me to toothpaste either. Gavin says, I wonder when we'll get a perfume based on Marmite. There was a brand, a short-lived brand, British, that they tried to use at least one British ingredient in their perfumes, and they had one which was meant to have a kind of Marmite accord. It was basically like a kind of yeasty accord. Was the brand called Union or something like that? When you've got a minute, take a look at my perfume review index on Persolaise.com. I think it may have been called Union. There was one that was sort of based on gunpowder. I mean, they weren't particularly memorable, but there we are. So I think that Marmite idea, but it wasn't a Marmite perfume per se. So Rosa Verde by Delphine Yelk. Oh, Gavin says yes. Union was a British brand, had a Union Jack design. Yeah, that's right. Aqua Allegoria, says Tool, is seriously underrated, maybe because they're more simplistic and more feminine leaning. Possibly, but they're not as accessible as they used to be price-wise. But Rosa Verde, I think, is one of the better Aqua Allegorias we've had for a while. It's very, very kind of simple idea. Cucumber, rose, mint, grassy notes. doesn't try to be overly complex. I think the Aqua Allegorias are at their best when they play with one or two accords and try to do them well. There is definitely a use of musks in the base as well, but they haven't been overdone. And this lasts and lasts and lasts. At least I find it does. So it's sunshine that never goes away, but also somehow manages to remain quite gentle. It's endless soothingness, to coin a noun. And I think it's really, really beautiful, and I am definitely adding it to my list of scents to wear this summer. Neroli Vetiver really does it for me, says Helter Skelter Jones, and this has some similarities. I completely agree. Dwarfy says, A Passage to India is my favourite. Right, we're back on Forster. Galgot's work was touching. He understood Forster's ethos of only connect that runs through his entire oeuvre. Glad to hear you're a fan. Yes, I mean, that book really touched me. I need to read more Forster, though. I've always wanted to read Where Angels Fear to Tread. Haven't ever managed to get onto that, but I've read the big ones as far as I'm aware. Okay, let us move on to, what should we do now? Okay, this is probably the quietest of the 10, but it lasts. It lasts a surprisingly long time. From 2022, this is to date my favourite from this brand. And this is composed by Sébastien Cresp, the son of Monsieur Olivier Cresp, from the brand Nissaba, founded by Sébastien Tissot. This is Provence. If you watch the interview that Sébastien Tissot gave not too long ago on this channel, you will know that each of the Nissaba scents is inspired by a particular geographic location and showcases an ingredient, a material from that location, and the Provence scent is meant to be all about herbs and lavender, but it just does such a truly lovely, non-cliched, convincing way of paying homage to that part of the world. It's a really, really beautiful lavender. The lavender is herbal, slightly camphoraceous, slightly woody. Definitely got that kind of floral, as Thierry Vasseur once took great pains to explain to me. We forget that lavender is a flower as well, and that lavender has a strong floral facet. But it's also quite strange in its own unassuming way, and I've been wearing it quite a bit over the last few days, and it hit me that it shares more than a few similarities with a perfume that I've talked about a lot in relation to summer scents, Ulrich Lang's Apsu, which has got a kind of quite abstract sort of green, aqueous, watery, almost kind of banana skin feel to it. This starts veering into those sorts of territories. So somewhere at the edge of the more herbal facets, because you get things like chamomile here, you get things like thyme. Somewhere at the edge of all of those herbal facets, there comes a suggestion of the sea, of maybe almost of something like Marseille soap. It's very, very, very comforting, but without being wishy-washy or easily dismissed. It's a really, really, really strong piece of work, I think, and the woods in the base support everything at the top really beautifully. It's one that I'd absolutely urge you to check out. Thomas says, Mr. P, for an absolute masterpiece of a lavender scent, check out Encens et Lavande by Lutins. It's my favourite lavender. I remember liking that one too, but is it still around? Was it? I remember having a sample of that. I don't know, a lot of you will be aware, if you actually went to the Palais Royal, they used to give you Serge Lutins samples in wax. There were these kind of carded wax things, and you rubbed them, and you could sort of put a little bit of what you'd rubbed onto your finger, or on the back of your on your neck or whatever. I'm not sure how well it worked. For a long time, that's how I had Encens et Lavande. I don't know if it's still around. It's only available in the bell jar, says Thomas. Ah, okay. Alex says, the floral aspect of lavender is very different to the herbal facets and unfortunately less used. I love it. So do I. So do I. This is really interesting. It's really interesting. It's Provence Plus. So it's the happiness of Provence Plus. Okay. We have done 5, so at this point I should just remind everybody that you're watching episode 567 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, and today we are doing one of our seasonal top 10s, top 10 perfumes for summer 2025, perfumes that bring us a sense of super joy, an evangelical joy without the religious aspect necessarily. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. Make sure you click on the little bell icon so that you get notifications about new videos. If you'd like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below, and you will also find a link to my Substack. Keep the suggestions coming. Please keep letting us know favorite, Superjoy songs, Superjoy books, Superjoy movies, Superjoy foods, those sorts of things. We need inspiration from each other. Oh, and like the video, says Omar. Thank you very much. 144 watching. I never know whether that's good. Is that good? I mean, the people watching live make up ultimately a very, very, very tiny proportion of the overall viewing figure. So 140 odd watching now. This video will probably end up having, I don't know, if I'm lucky, 2,000 likes. So, but is that good? I have no idea whether that's good. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be good if you're Lady Gaga or something, but Gavin knows he doesn't look like a lemon tart. I know I'm not Lady Gaga. And Alex says, yes, please, everyone like the video. If you like the video, and like the video. Time to do the +1. This is a +1, partly because I just love it. I've mentioned it on lots of lists, but also because it's, it can't be on the top 10, because it's been discontinued, and I have no idea why it's been discontinued. I adore it. And I will just mention very, very quickly, because regular viewers will know that I really, really like it, from Acqua di Parma, from their Blue Mediterranee range. This is their Chinotto di Liguria. This again was instant happiness. For those of you who don't know, the Chinotto is a citrus fruit, and in Italy, and I think particularly in northern Italy, it forms the basis of a very popular drink called Chinotto. So you know how in many countries around the world the brand San Pellegrino do quite good fizzy drinks, fizzy orange, fizzy grapefruit or whatever. Well, in Italy you can also get a San Pellegrino Chinotto, and you can also get Chinotto drinks from other brands, and it's very, very good. And if I'm ever fortunate enough to find myself in Italy, I try to get myself a Chinotto drink. I have a Chinotto in my patio, says Alex. Well, there you go. Dave NYC says, old club song from circa 1997. Oh, let's see if I might know this. House of Joy by Vicky Sue Robinson is the most joyful song ever put to wax. I have a feeling I do know it, but I'd need to re-listen to see. Love Chinotto, says Natalie. Usually layer it with mandorlo, though. Ah, interesting. Oh, this is just happiness, and instant smile in a bottle. And it was so well done because it didn't overdo the citrus, it didn't overdo the musks, it didn't overdo the herbals. I have no idea why this wasn't successful. I don't know what else you could possibly have wanted from a cologne-like citrusy scent. I don't get it. Is it because people didn't know what a Chinotto was? I don't know. It was great. So that's the +1. So maybe that should go there. Should that go there? You can still see that if I do that. Very, very Syrah Chinotto, but you're not part of the Acqua di Parma universe anymore. Maybe it wasn't mainstream enough, says Alex. But it's so accessible. It was so easy to wear. I mean, you couldn't have asked for something more accessible. Oriana says, music that always gets my spirits going. Step Out from Jose Gonzalez. I don't know that one. See, this is why I need all these tips, especially when it comes to music. My musical tastes are so narrow. K. Dot says, love tuning in live when I have an opportunity. You're very, very welcome. Also, love having the ability to rewatch later. Keep up the great work, Mr. P. Thank you very much. That's very, very kind. Charlotte Tilbury brings me joy, says Gavin. I think, darlings, she brings joy to a lot of people. Yeah, save the story for another time. Let's move on. Let's do perfume number 6 on the list. Okay, let's do this one. I considered a few from this brand. I mean, this is a genius brand. They haven't really got a single bad perfume in this brand. There are some that I like more than others, but there isn't anything that I would call a bad perfume. I considered As Amour les Orangers, I considered Mal, I considered Iskander, but in the end, from Parfum d'Empire, because I wanted something big, like I said, I wanted loud joy, I wanted loud happiness, I decided to go for Trois Fleurs from Parfum d'Empire. This, of course, like all of the other perfumes in the brand, is composed by Marc-Antoine Corticchiato, and it came to us in 2009. Beautiful brand, says Ilias. Thanks for bringing the weather with you, by the way, Ilias. It is a beautiful brand. It really is a beautiful brand. And this perfume, this perfume is a technical marvel, because it's called Three Flowers, Trois Fleurs, and you can really smell rose, tuberose, and jasmine just harmonizing with each other perfectly. So the rose brings the creaminess, the pinkness, the slight touch of pepperiness. The jasmine brings that more intoxicating, carnal, indolic quality, and the tuberose brings the drama and that suggestion of a kind of coconutty, bulbous facet. It's great. And Madame Persolaise has taken, to my great joy, has taken lately to wearing the vintage Yves Saint Laurent Paris that I got for her a little while ago. Again, if we could somehow just have a time machine and go back and stock up on vintage Paris, what an amazing scent. This, from perfumes that are currently available, is the closest I think that you can get to the largesse, the joyful largesse of Paris. Paris perfumes don't get more joyful than vintage Paris. That was meant to be a Yves Saint Laurent's love letter to Paris, composed by the incomparable Sophia Groisman. That was meant to be a love letter to Paris, and you can feel love and affection and emotion and devotion pouring out of every single drop of that perfume. And this is also one of those love bouquets. It is like giving an olfactory bouquet to somebody and saying, this is what I think of you, this is what I mean to me, what you mean to me. It's just heavenly. It's really, really, really great. If you've never smelt anything from Parfum d'Empire, do yourselves a favour and order their sample set. If I could, I would have every single scent from them in my collection. And every few months or so, I kind of think, okay, is it time to purchase another Parfum d'Empire? And I kind of go through the list and think, okay, maybe I can buy this one, maybe I can this one. It's such a great brand. Natalie says Trois Fleurs is a bit too heavy for me to be joyful. Right, but this is what we want. We want big joy, okay? I find Salute very joyful, though. Yeah, there were a few potential contenders from this brand. Maybe it's because when Marc-Antoine Corticchiato is composing, he puts a lot of happiness and joy into his work. That's the only way I could explain it. Offenlicht says the sample set was, oh thank you, €60, including shipping for 23 samples. Amazing value. That is pretty good, isn't it? That is pretty good. That's less than €3 per sample, and you've got your shipping there as well. And do you also not get? Isn't it one of those ones where you get a bit of money off a purchase, or am I wrong? Maybe sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. I've had my eye on Salute, says More Violette, and who also agrees that is a good deal. Trois Fleurs is just heavenly, just really, really stunning. Offenlich says you get like €25 off your next full bottle, I think. So yeah, not bad. Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves is excellent, apart from the gloomy bits of the gloomy video, says Seabreeze756. I don't remember the video. But yeah, very, very joyful song. Okay, let's move on. The next one is also, veering towards cologne-like things, but by no means is it a traditional cologne. We had to have a Jean-Claude Eleanor, because he knew about happiness in perfumes, he knew about luminosity, he still does. Shouldn't talk about him in the past tense. He's a master of luminosity in perfumes, and he's a master of making light ingredients last for a very long time. So from 2011, from the Jardin collection that he did for Hermes, This is his Jardin sur le Toit, which I've got in this very, very cute little 30ml bottle that I happened to pick up many years ago. This was inspired by Hermes's own rooftop garden in, I think, Paris. And in this garden, they have apple trees and pear trees. And lo and behold, you smell this and you get apple and pear. In the most smile-inducing way you could imagine. And this is a kind of joyful sanctuary. So you've got the hustle and bustle of Paris below you. I have no idea how tall this building is, but I should imagine it's got a fairly decent height. And you've got this sanctuary, and you're surrounded by apple trees, pear trees. This is also meant to have a kind of apple wood and pear wood accord in it. Definitely more than a hint of greenness. It's just so nicely done, and it's probably the most accessibly, unashamedly joyful of the Jardin. The Mediterranean one, the fig, has definitely got dark elements to it. The Sur le Nil, which is still my favourite of the Jardin, but with its incense note, it kind of starts taking you things into more ecclesiastical areas. Monsieur Lee was definitely not as happy as this one. What else did we have? Après la Mousson, very, very sadly discontinued. A bit too strange to be outright joyful. And even the ones that Christine Nagel has given us, I forget, she had the Greek-inspired one, didn't she? And I'm sure there was, and the Venetian-inspired one. They're all a bit more complicated than this one. This is an uncomplicated joy, I think. What are you folks saying about it? Offenlich says, yes, the green fruits in this are some of my favourites. Very nice, says Alex. Palm Springs Joy Movie, says Vetiwera. I don't know if I know that film. Too Much Rose, says So Six. Okay, fair enough. Cithera is great, or Jardin Cithère, says Omar, but not bright and happy. Yeah, I still remain a bit on the side of not particularly enjoying that one, but there are so many people who have been in touch with me, and usually every 3 months or so I get a comment on the Jardin à Cithère video saying, you're wrong, you just don't get this perfume. If you knew Greece, if you knew the weather in Greece, you would get it, which I have to accept. Perhaps I will have the opportunity to expand my first-hand knowledge of Greece soon. Gavin says, John Lewis on Oxford Street has a nice garden at the top of it for the staff. Oh, how nice, how nice. Do they have Jean-Claude Eleanor serving them apple and pear drinks? Raucous Retread says, glad I can sit back and enjoy this one. Happy Father's Day all. Wearing a vintage Aramis in honour of Dad. Good choice. Not as bright as Hermes, but brings me joy all the same. Well, you enjoy every minute of it. I really like this one. And this is the kind of thing that you'd want in a really, really gorgeous, luxuriant shower gel or soap. You want that kind of self-indulgent joy from it. Cithère is nice, says Bozok, so much better than similar attempts at the theme. Okay, well, I will take your views. And Omar says, Concentré d'orange verte is my favourite happy Hermes. We are down to 3. So let us do another one that kind of takes us to coastal regions. And this actually happens to be the oldest one on the list, even though it's only 25 years old. From the year 2000, from the original Frederic Malle lineup when he launched the brand, composed by the one and only Edouard Flechier. This is the Lily Lys Mediterranee. Now, I've always pronounced the Lily as Lys, but somebody who speaks French, correct me. Do you pronounce the S or don't you? I was told that you do, but now I've got reason to doubt. I'm pretty sure it's not Ly Mediterranee, is it? I don't know. Somebody help me out. This is, if anybody ever writes to me or contacts me and says, can you recommend any good kind of Oriental lily type scents? I say, have you tried the Frederic Malle? This is genius. So 6 says you do pronounce the S in this case, Lys. I thought so. Okay, thank you very much. So it's Delphine Yelk, Lys Mediterranee. It is an amazing lily note, and I think that's why it makes me happy. So this is tropical joy. even though it is meant to be Mediterranean, but to me, because this has kind of got that kind of exotic tropical orchid vibe to it, a really, really well done marine accord that doesn't for a moment make you think of Cologne or overuse of those horrific marine materials. And the orange blossom supporting the lily, making it fleshier, more indolic, more carnal. It's just genius. It's just genius. To my great disappointment, Madame Persolaise decided she doesn't like it. I think she just finds it a touch too green, and she doesn't really get along with things that have got a pronounced green note. And there is a green note here, it has to be said, but to me it's quite well disguised. It's quite well hidden. I thought I would be able to sneak it past her, but she's hypersensitive to greens. She's hypersensitive to grapefruit and vetiver, and she spotted it straight away. And she just said, no, you know, I can't do this one. So anyway, it means I've got the bottle back, which is fine. I'm not complaining. But it's just beautiful. So this is, shall we say, I don't know, the joy of the territories where the jungle meets the seaside, something like that. Speaking of dramatic territories, from last year, this is number 9 on the list. And by the way, these aren't like in order of quality or preference. This isn't a count down or a count up. They are in no particular order, the 10. Another relatively newish and totally independent brand that I'm really taken with, as you will know if you check out my showcase review, from 2024, from the brand Eau De Boujee, from their perfumer Pierre Long. This is their Infleurno. My favourite from the brand is still Gilded. Keep an eye on what they might be releasing later this year, or keep a nose out for what they might be releasing this year. But for this particular theme, it's got to be Infleurno. This is great. This is such good fun. It's probably the most out there and the kind of strangest of the perfumes on the list, and it's got a lot going on, but it's a testament to Pierre Long's skills that, you know, not even for 1 second does it kind of like descend into a mess. It's not a kind of like just throw everything in there and see what sticks. It's complex and it's multifaceted, but it's got, you know, it's carefully composed. What can I tell you about it in terms of the official notes? So yeah, it's got this kind of grapefruit thing happening at the top, but I guess the main thing is a kind of interplay between osmanthus and frankincense. So you get the kind of apricot-y, woody, biting on you know, like a kind of apricot stone or a peach stone, a slightly almondy, acidic thing, playing with the cleaner, not exactly smoky, but maybe almost kind of like citrus woody facets of frankincense. But the effect of all of that is that it kind of fires laser beams at you. It fires orange and yellow and auburn and peachy, apricot-y coloured laser beams at you, like you're at a concert and they kind of go into their laser thing, and it's a sort of, you know, is it a rave in a church, or is it a rave in outer space, or is it a rave in a jungle? I don't know, but it's got that kind of rave-like feel to it. You know, if they'd called it Disco Infleurno, I wouldn't have been surprised. It's really, really energetic, but it's happy. You know, it is full of people who are really, really joyful, and the whole thing isn't going to end in a sad mess at 4 a.m, and there isn't going to be a come down, because these people have just been on a natural high all this time, and they're going to go home happy, and they're going to take really, really joyful memories with them. Another brand where, if you haven't sampled their work, I would say get their discovery set. Have you had osmanthus in food, Mr. P says Tool. No, I don't think I have. That sounds intriguing. Gavin says, we need to see the whole perfume collection of Mr. Persolaise. That would bring me joy. No, it wouldn't. It absolutely wouldn't. And there was no way I would get it into a shape or form that would enable me to do that. Gavin says, this video really makes me want to discuss William Blake and joy. Gosh. Now that's a big topic. I remember doing Songs of Innocence and Experience with a very, very, very special sort of super bright sixth form group many years ago. We got a lot out of doing those poems together, actually. That was good fun. That was a real highlight. And finally, we started with Tuberose, with a 2025 Tuberose release. So we're going to finish with a 2025 Tuberose release, which actually sets out to be like a kind of white beam of supercharged optimism in the darkness. You may already have guessed what it is that I'm referring to. From Quentin Biche, who is still the sole perfumer for this particular brand. The brand is Marc-Antoine Barrois, and this is their brand new Aldebaran. I'm really impressed with this. I was really impressed from the first sniff. Still one place for Hiram Green, says Bozok. That would have been good, yeah. I mean, he is a very, very sort of joyful and joy-filled scent maker as well. Where can we pop the Aldebaran? Should we put it here? Is it going to fit here? I have no idea where it's going to fit, actually. Is it going to work? I will sort this out later. No, that kind of works, as long as we don't lose any of the bottles. There we are. Have you tried this? Alex says, this video is definitely a joy for me. Thank you very much. Thomas, as I liked Tilia more. Well, yes, I mean, you know, we could have a debate about which one we liked more, but I think this one's really special as well. So this takes the tuberose idea, but makes it... It's kind of got a bell pepper and peppery feel to it, but it doesn't go down the kind of acidic, spicy, turmeric, bitter route of Eshal. This starts veering into sort of like tonka bean and maybe emphasises the woodiness more. I think it's really, really great. And I completely get this idea of... that they're trying to convey of making tuberose here not a kind of vampish mistress of the night, but almost like the incandescent angel that is going to avenge and do battle with the forces of darkness, which is an interesting twist on the tuberose story, because tuberose is usually presented as being quite gothic, quite vampish, as I say, dripping with poisonous fruits, the maleficent. And I'm not saying that this is tuberose as Snow White, but I'm trying to think of a kind of hero or heroine that would convey that avenging angel type idea. Jeremy, hello, says, I like Aldebaran. It has a pleasant coconutty feel that wraps around a bitter tuberose. Yeah, and the coconut and tuberose are not a million miles away from each other. Gavin says, I think joy is more our own essential feeling. It's more about things that return us to being in tune with that, rather than joy being in those objects. Yes, I absolutely agree. Sometimes the objects are a sort of medium, a conduit to help us get there, right? Alex says, they're highly artistic and very well done, but just not my taste, but things can change. Absolutely. And I think the fact that they are quite polarizing, I can see that the Marc-Antoine Barrois brand is polarizing. The fact that they are polarizing, I think, is commendable. It shows that then Marc-Antoine is not trying to go down an easy route and is thinking, we need to push the ideas out there. Some people will appreciate them, some people won't. Natalie says, I had a strip with a couple of sprays of Aldebaran at home, and it perfumed the space for days. It went on and on and on. That is a good note, I think, on which to say thank you very much indeed for watching. Thank you for sharing this joy. Now, as I say, a lot of you have been watching, which is brilliant, and hopefully a lot of you also liked the video enough to give it a like. But, like I said a few minutes ago, the vast majority of you will be watching the recordings. So please feel free to leave a comment. Please do leave a comment about what it is that brings you joy, whether it's a perfume that you're particularly looking forward to wearing this summer, or a song, or a movie, something that absolutely never fails to pull you out of despair and make you realize that it's fine, everything's going to be okay, it's all right to look forward to the next day. Hopefully in the weeks and months ahead we will all have reason to feel more joy, and hopefully we will be able to send thoughts of positivity and joyfulness and optimism to some of the darkest corners of the world, because goodness knows at the moment they need it. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned to social media for information about new videos coming your way. But until next time, be good. See you soon. Bye now.